and this is The In Show. And I'm your host, Gus Summers. It's good to be back with you today. That's right, we are broadcasting live from our In Show studios from the Sunset Strip, from the entertainment capital of the world, Hollywood. And we have a great in-studio guest, Mr. Dell Weston.
Hey, Gus Summers. How are you, young man? How are you?
I'm doing great. So glad to have you on the show. What I love is that you love film.
I love it. I love film, and I love filmmakers.
Yeah, we were just chatting it up away right before we started. You know, I think it's one of the purest forms of art that, I don't know, that from completion, from idea, writer, producer, director, where it all comes together and it comes out in one piece.
Yeah, it was the only art form, I believe, where you have a concept or an idea, and then 1,000 people help you ruin it.
Nice.
It's true. Because everyone from craft services to the editor is putting their hand on your concept, on your baby.
You're right.
You know,
right.
And you're either raising a beauty queen or a Frankenstein monster, and you don't know until the last day.
Right.
You know, you don't know. Yeah. I know that Adam Sandler just came out with a Pixel movie, and I watched a 10-minute review of the movie, and I'd never heard a reviewer use profanity in such a mass of anger and hatred.
And directed at one.
Directly at Adam Sandler in the film. And I know the film's probably horrible. There's no question about that. It was a dumb concept to begin with. But the idea that Sandler, who's had such a free ride because of his stint on Saturday Night Live, has gotten away with so much. And now people call him on it, on one of his biggest films. I'm not happy about it. Right. But I'm sure a lot of people had their hands in that movie. Yeah. Not just him.
Right. His name is the one that's most prominent.
He's the one that's going to
take the brunt of it.
You know, it's like watching a great martial arts film where they have arrows raining down from the sky, but instead of arrows hitting one arm, you just hit one guy. Yeah. And he's the guy the arrows are coming for.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, I guess that's just kit and caboodle for putting your. I think for some filmmakers, it's their heart on their sleeve. Other people, it's just a job.
Well, it's if you truly believe that it's art, your heart's going to be on your sleeve.
Yeah.
If you're a technician, you don't really care. I mean, technically you could do everything right for the score, but the movie's horrible because the story's bad.
Right.
Technically, you could do everything you can as a cinematographer, but the performances are bad. You can't change that. So technically, you did your job, but there was no art in the art, and that's what's missing. So that's why I say, it's a concept that someone comes up with 1,000 people put their hand on the ruin, man. It's life changing, and it's beautiful, but it's also very sobering because, people who have zero talent can make it in this industry if they surround themselves with people with talent.
Right.
But if they have money or access or relationships, you don't need talent. You just need good people.
You just need the good people.
You need the good, and if you have, some talent and some money,
so hopefully you'll.
you see a little something come back.
That's funny because I know you've been in the industry for a long time. So let me ask. You don't have to pick one. You can pick, a few. We'll say from the '40s till today.
Right.
Is there a film or group of films that you thought that hit it?
Well, of course, it's the films from the 70s.
Nice.
Midnight Cowboy, The Verdict, things like that, where people actually were treading a line. They were treading the line between profanity and art. They were treading a line between vulgarity and realism. They were treading the line between discovering what this art form could be and making it commercial. So in the 70s, you had everything from Thief with James Caan, right? Remember those films?
Yeah.
That was actually a Michael Mann film toward the 80s, but it was a 70s style film.
Right.
And if you look at The Verdict, which I think is probably one of the greatest films in the history of the world, it's Paul Newman playing a down-and-out lawyer who has a chance to redeem himself, and he refuses to give that opportunity up. That is one of the most brilliant films, just from the standpoint of composition. The shots that were composed by that director, Sidney Lumet, are so far beyond what people were doing that it takes viewing at least 6-8 times to go, oh my God. And it's the first film, I think, where a man ever hits a woman where it was justified and you feel justified in watching it happen.
Right.
That's a very interesting point now because of what's happening with violence against women in the media. But in that film, when I saw it, I heard women cheering when she was smacked. And so it's one of those things where you go, it was groundbreaking socially as well.
Yeah, right. That's a great point because something I always try to, when I talk to, filmmakers is I view people, characters as people, not necessarily, woman, male, or gender, or what have you. And in that particular instance, you're looking at the character, and the character deserves
That's
that.
right.
And that's interesting that they, in that time frame, they're able to do things like that.
Right. Well, you look at a film like Kramer versus Kramer, another great film.
Dustin Hoffman,
Dustin Hoffman, Meryl Streep. If you look at that film and the amount of violence aimed toward that woman, you have to really begin to understand how we got to where we are right now in media. Because right now, I heard a report the other day that said that we are at the first time a tipping point with regards to pornography because young males have watched so much pornography that they can no longer enjoy the actual act because it's nowhere close to what they've seen, a billion times by watching porn.
Right.
But if you look at what happened in film in the 70s and 80s, women began to become emancipated from the need of a man.
Right.
So there's this natural progression from that all the way to I'm a woman / I'm a porn star / okay, go ahead and slap me, which is what they were doing in the 70s anyway. They've come full circle, man.
Yeah, that's great.
But my favorite era would be the 70s, no question at all.
Because you have, I get in conversations about, actors, who's a great actor, actress, and my comparison is always, look, when in my formative years, the young actors were, Al Pacino, Harvey Keitel, Meryl Streep, Glenn Close. The old actors were, Gene Hackman, Richard Harris, Elizabeth Taylor,
Marlon
Brando. Yeah, these were the ones that, I look to, and I think, wow, this is what I had growing up. What is there now?
There's nothing now.
Yeah.
There, unfortunately, this has been going on for a few years. In my opinion, they are celebrating the man / boy. Ryan Gosling is a man boy. He's not grown up. He's not a child.
Right.
And if you look at these actors that are at the top of their game, the only one who even gets close to being a man, and it's funny because he's the highest paid actor in Hollywood now, is The Rock.
Yeah, right.
But he's not really an actor. He's a performer.
Nice.
And if you think about that, he's a man.
Yeah.
He started out as a man. He never had an evolution in acting. He was always a man / hero.
Yeah.
So if you take away these... But he's not really... Don't get me wrong.
No,
I love The Rock. I love Dwayne Johnson.
Sure.
But you put Dwayne Johnson in a scene with Paul Newman in his prime, you'd ask Dwayne to get you a glass of water.
Oh, yeah.
He is not an actor in my world of what I think of classical acting.
Yeah.
And so if you look at Marathon Man, and you look at Laurence Olivier's performance as the
German
antagonist,
there,
is it safe?
Yeah.
Is it safe? Now, he could say that with no sound effects, no music, no strange lighting, and it had the chilling effect to put you in your seat with tears in your eyes.
I love it.
But if you go to The Rock saying, is it safe, you're going to crack a smile and go, Rock's going to hit him in the head.
Yeah, right.
And it's not the same thing. It's just not. But I love The Rock, and I'm proud to see a guy of color, a guy who does not fit the mold of the blonde-haired, blue-eyed superhero. No offense to Chris Evans or anyone else out there, but even if you look at Captain America, he's a child.
Yeah.
He's still a man boy.
Right.
And Jeremy Renner in those Avengers film, he's a tiny little man boy. No assault on him. I'm just saying, he's not, and that's, which is funny because he wouldn't apologize for calling the Black Widow character a slut on television. She's a mythical character, which plays to your point that she's a real person, not a character.
Yeah.
But he refused, same as a child would, not to apologize for calling her a poor name like that.
Exactly.
That tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I love that point. Because, again, we're talking about 70s, the same era that I really enjoy. You look at the films, again, we mentioned Gene Hackman. I think of the 7-Ups. Roy Schneider's in that.
The 7-Ups and French Connection, are you kidding?
Beautiful.
See, when you think of Gene Hackman, who really didn't get his due until he did Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood. Because when he played the sheriff in Unforgiven, that was a combination of performances he'd been doing for 30 years but never been recognized for. Yeah. Because Popeye Doyle was more of an extrovert who's, streetwise and that sheriff was so sublime that you saw the culmination of all of his efforts come together in that one performance.
Yeah.
But it took a film like that to bring it out. And Hackman, I don't know anyone, with the exception of a Brando, who could get close to a Hackman's, versatility in a building.
Yeah, I mean, you look at those films and it's, amazing. I can just, like you said, rattle off, off the top of my head, films. I think of, like in the 80s, James Caan was coming into his own, late 70s, 80s.
Yeah, well, there's a guy who did the films with John Wayne, and it was doing the Westerns,
Mississippi.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, but remember,
Alvarado,
James Caan, this is funny, because James Caan is Jewish. And,
right.
But he was playing the Italian and the tough guy. He was I think he was the replacement for one of my favorite actors, Charles Bronson.
Oh, nice.
And he was kind of a replacement for him. But I was going to say to you, the other guy we didn't mention who deserves all the attention, and I mean that, is a guy named George C. Scott.
Oh, come on. Beautiful.
People forgot about George C. Scott, but if you ever get a chance, there's a couple of films that I think that are like essential to the development of an artist.
Yeah.
There's a film called Hardcore.
Nice, yeah.
Where George C. Scott plays a Midwestern father who's looking for his daughter who's come to L.A. to join and get into porn.
Nice, yes.
And there's a scene in the film where he's watching a film with his daughter in it, in this seedy theater he's looking for, and he's watching her, and the camera just does a slow push into his face. Now, that is a man performing.
Yes.
I don't care what these young new actors do, they don't have it.
Yeah.
They don't have the gravitas, the ability, the power, the strength, the experience. They don't have it.
Right.
And I think that's the big difference now in film. The 70s and 80s films featured men.
Yeah.
And the films now feature men/boys.
Yeah, Grade 3, another film that when you were mentioning George C. Scott, Islands in the Stream.
Oh, forget about it. See, I don't think, people don't even talk about these films anymore.
No.
And it's a shame because if you go back, they're remaking films that we saw, and you're saying, why would you remake that film?
Yeah.
And I see them remaking Ghostbusters with women, and I say, okay, listen, I get the commercial side of that. I understand it. But you cannot redo what Bill Murray did, with Sigourney Weaver in that film because of the time it was made.
Right.
And I think I'm glad they see a need to empower women by making them grab their crotch and spit and fart. Okay, great, have a great day. But to me, that doesn't empower women. That's a whole nother vibe.
Yeah. It's funny that you bring that up because I watch movies, actors, I don't see anything other than, hey, that's Sigourney Weaver, or hey, that's Morgan Freeman.
Right.
I just look at them like that. And I was talking to somebody about specifically women in action films. I said, in the 80s there were only a few, and we're talking about Sigourney Weaver was one.
Sigourney Weaver, Gina Davis, Gina Rowland,
Gloria. Come on.
Yeah.
You're gonna let a woman beat you? That was a great film.
And then don't forget also, a woman who I think was one of the toughest action stars that never committed any action was the woman who starred in Warriors. She played the dark-haired girl.
She was from Too Close for Comfort.
Too Close for Comfort.
Van Dorn or something like that. Yeah, Deborah Van Dorn.
But the deal was, she played tough because she had to counter. It's a great Walter Hill film.
Yeah.
And by the way,
Walter Hill.
I don't care what anybody says, Walter Hill is perhaps the greatest director we've ever had in the history of the world.
Yeah.
Period. Exclamation point. Yeah, he made Trespass, but I'll forgive him for that. But this guy, come on now.
Yeah, it was a great film. I'm a big actor guy. I know a lot of actors. Like we talk about the Warriors. Love Michael Beck and James Remar.
Yep.
And he's still around.
Yeah, he's still around. He's still here.
I love the scene when they're running through the park.
Right.
And the guys are after him. He goes, the other little guy. He goes, I can't run anymore. He goes, good. I'm tired of running after these sissies. You remember that?
But you know what's funny though? They've never remade that film. You know why?
Goodness.
Because they can't.
No way.
Because the gang mentality now is so vicious and so brutal. And so I watched something last night, and I saw these men surrounding a woman on a hidden camera, and they were trying to make her look at them so they could take her into slavery as a pimp. This is in New York. And I went, that's not the 70s and 80s. And I'm going to give you one last really great film that I thought typified that time. Because you couldn't make it now, the way they made it. And that was The Wild Bunch. There's no way you could put that group of men together again today, because one, they don't exist, and two, the hatred toward the Mexicans in that film is so overwhelming.
Right.
Even though it was deserved for that particular storyline,
Right.
you couldn't tell that story now the right way.
No.
You couldn't do it.
I mean, you're talking about Warren Oates, Ernest Borgnine.
Come on, man.
I love
that movie. You know, come on. Which brings up another great film from that era, which was Paul Newman and Cool Hand Luke. You know, you just, I can't, it's just, this
George
is
Kennedy
you
did that.
Come on, you can't, Strother Martin, you just,
we have a
failure to communicate. So what happens is, you know, I don't think that people today even reference films like this because they're looking at something a guy did 10 years ago and said, well, this is that's not history.
No.
10 years ago is a remake.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, no, that's fantastic.
That's my rant for the day.
No, that's great. I'm with you on those points. I mean, I look at, you know, these like that movie, these actors, and you know, the story that they were telling, and you know, like when he was. When they were after they stole the truck, George Kennedy, and he's all, I knew they didn't break you, Luke. I knew they didn't. He goes, oh no, they broke me, but why'd you do it? And
there's no reason.
It just.
Which was also the answer for the generation.
Yeah.
I don't know why I did it.
Yeah.
I just did it. You know, and it was that, but that you had the coming out of the '60s and the race riots and the war in Vietnam. You had a lot of people who were confused and didn't know.
Right.
So
it answered questions without answering questions.
You didn't have to.
Why? I don't know.
I saw a film recently, and they had to explain everything in the film after the film. And I said, that wasn't a deep film. Why are you explaining it? Like, you really feel the need to explain every little thing to me? I don't need that.
Catch the nuance.
Not just the nuance, but you have to be a critical thinker to understand. You know, there's a great scene in Midnight Cowboy where Ratso Rizzo, played by Dustin Hoffman, is fighting with the John Voight character, Cowboy. And they're walking across the street, and a car pulls into the crosswalk and hits Dustin Hoffman. Yeah. And he says, I'm walking here, right? And he's hitting the car. But what you understand is he's saying, I'm alive. Right. As he's dying in the film. You watch him, he's actually dying, but he's screaming for his humanity in that one little... Well, you don't explain that to me, but if you went back, I'm sure there's a lot of people today who wouldn't get it. Oh, look, he's walking. It's nothing to do, it's living. Yeah. He's existing.
Because we see that scene repeated in comedies. I'm walking here.
I'm walking, but what's the real reference? What's the real reference? And I think that they've bastardized a lot of pure film. Yeah. And, you know, if you go back to the 40s and 50s with James Cagney and Spencer Tracy and Clark Gables, those guys were so macho that we got to the underbelly of those guys in the 70s and 80s, and then it turned and became something else after that period.
Because I remember when I was watching TV, one of my great heroes, Mickey Spillane's My Camera, Stacy Keach, come on.
You know, he's still on, you know, it's funny that he's still on TV now, but he does American Greed. on that TV show American Greed, and he's just a voice. He's like Paul Winfield. Yeah, you know,
great actor.
Another from the film Sounder, another film, and also a really great film from Robert Altman, MASH. See, I think that people don't understand what you had in that era, and even though they're technically sophisticated now, I'd be hard pressed to name films that even get close to that ilk. Very hard, and I'm a film lover, and I'd be, you know, I love Liam Neeson, but Taken just don't do it. You know what I mean? Because that's a formulaic progression of violence, nothing more.
Right, because there was a film similar, not quite similar, but something like it with Gene Hackman and Matt Dillon. It was
called The Package.
It was they were in London or in Europe, and
it's called The Package. And it stars Joanna Cassidy.
It is Joanna Cassidy.
Yeah. I think
is it called The Package?
I think it's called The Package.
I'm thinking The Package of with Tommy Lee Jones and
no.
That's another package.
And he plays a spy, and he's
Target. Yeah, something like
The Target. It's like
Target.
Maybe it's Target.
Something like that. Yeah. But you know, something similar. Here it is. 20 years later, it's repackaged. Yeah. But Liam Neeson did great.
Liam Neeson's amazing.
$50 million bucks opening, both of them.
Well, more than that, man. He's a guy who lost his wife in a tragic accident, and it's funny because you never hear anything bad about Liam Neeson. Yeah. And I was watching the movie The Grey, right? Yeah. And which I love. I love that film. Yeah. People pan the heck out of that film, but Liam Neeson brings so much dignity to that role, and he just lost his wife in real life. So seeing him lose his wife in the film, you go, "Oh, that's a little eerie." Although it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
Right.
I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah. I mean, anybody. Absolutely.
Love the movie.
Yeah, great movie. Another great actor. I remember first time I ever saw Liam Neeson, Excalibur. Come on, Nigel Terry, as Arthur. I think he's just.
I'll tell you who stole that film was Helen Mirren.
Oh yeah.
She did a film with one of my favorite actors, also from The Verdict, James. The English actor James. He played the opposing lawyer in The Verdict. He also played in Lolita. I'll think of his name.
Jeremy Irons.
No,
not Jeremy Irons.
I'll think of his name. But he plays with her in a film called The Artist.
The Artist.
Yeah, and that was made in the late 60s, early 70s. Helen Mirren is naked in that entire film. And it reminds me, it reminds me now of when I hear Rose McGowan say, "I was treated badly. They wanted to see me in a bra, and I'm standing up." And honey, you're not standing up against anything. You made your career with the musician with the breasts, Marilyn Manson.
Oh, right.
And you were standing in front of the VMAs wearing nothing but a piece of tape over your nipples. Don't complain now because you're 40 years old and a little saggy.
Yeah, right.
This business is not about, in my mind, the nudity of actresses, because it's about the reflection of what you're going to see in life. And I got to tell you, there's a shot in The Graduate with Anne Bancroft where she lifts her knee and you see the lead character, Dustin Hoffman, between her legs.
Right.
And he says, "Are you seducing me?"
Mrs. Robinson.
Mrs. Robinson, right? Well, that is as sexy as seeing most girls' breasts today.
Yeah.
Because it's about passion and love and excitement and seduction.
Yeah.
And I think we've lost a little bit of that nuance, but I was a little disappointed in Rose McGowan saying that she was attacked by Hollywood. Hollywood didn't attack you.
Yeah.
Age attacked you.
Right.
Age got to you, sweetheart.
Yeah. This is when it comes to a point where it's looks, brains, what have you, talent. It all starts with where talent comes through. Why is Meryl Streep still working?
Why is Meryl Streep playing a rock star in her next film?
You're right.
Yeah. How in the world is this older, overweight, dumpy, but somehow fantastically beautiful individual playing such a? How do you go from playing the Prime Minister of England and Thatcher to playing a rock star unless you are insanely talented and able? That's a whole nother mix.
Yeah, and there's your threshold. When you hear actresses compare themselves to Meryl Streep, really? You know what she was doing when she was 20?
Yep,
she was doing.
She was in The Deer Hunter, man.
Yeah. Silkwood.
Yeah. Come on. And I'll tell you how you know Meryl Streep is great. Because she had to go up against a powerhouse called Cher in Silkwood.
Yeah.
And Cher not only had a career in television with the Sonny and Cher show, but she had a successful career in music. Yeah. So you're having to come in and combat that and beat it, and she did handily. I mean, if you ever see Cher in Moonstruck, you understand just what a talented woman she is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Which makes me hate to go up and look at her in that whatever striptease movie she did. What was it?
Burlesque.
Whatever that piece of garbage was. I feel bad for some people sometimes because you wonder. There's a point where you say, "I'm sorry that they did that," and they're going, "Well, listen, she's worth $100 billion. It's got nothing to do with money."
Right.
You're going to be remembered that way for the rest of your life in that horrible, horrible film. It's like Elizabeth Berkley in Showgirls.
Right.
She looks like a deer that was about to be introduced to a gangbang, at a bear den. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In every frame, she just looks so scared.
Right.
And I can just see Joel Esterhaus in the back rubbing his hands together. I just stole another soul.
Oh, gee.
Joe wasn't the director. He was the writer.
Yeah.
But he did some horrible stuff.
Yeah.
That I just think that set women back, including, which I thought was funny, leaving his wife for his best friend's wife, which I found to be an amazingly grotesque move, but it personified the 80s. Yeah. Excess, greed, power-hungry, mad, drugged-up individuals doing the most horrendous thing, and that's not film.
Right.
That's just not film.
Yeah.
You know, we had some great films in the 80s, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's nothing like, for me, like
Come on,
the 70s.
Scarface.
You know, Stephen Bauer is an interesting actor.
He is.
And I had a surreal experience with him up in the Hollywood Hills one night where I'd asked him to do a film that I was working on. He says, no, I don't do those kind of roles anymore.
Yeah.
And then I saw him in the exact same role a year later. Piece of garbage. Anyway, so he's at this party, and I walk in and take a seat, and the next thing I know, he's sitting down on the floor in front of me, and he's playing Stairway to Heaven. What a talented guy. But Hollywood's the kind of place where things like that happen, where you see a guy, and by the way, Bauer was no slouch.
Right.
He went from Scarface to a beautiful little film called Thief of Hearts.
Yeah, I remember.
And you just knew Bauer was going to make it.
Yeah.
And then he had, a little, exit and entry. But he's back now with Ray Donovan because it just takes one role here.
Yeah.
It just takes one role. But
he did Wise Guy after Ken Wall left for a while. That was
a show that didn't really, I don't think, showcased him and his talent, because he's a talented guy.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a guy like the star of Ray Donovan to bring out Avi's or Bauer's talent.
Yeah.
He's got to be balanced by Liev Schreiber.
Yeah. Because I love he's one guy. Because I always love the character actors.
Yeah.
Because you'll see them pop up and it's like, man, they're brilliant. And I love when they're able to go. One of my favorites. Because I just want to talk a little more because I do want to talk about your festival and your book.
Yeah, who cares? Listen, who cares what I get? No, I mean, I'm serious. Listen, just to be able to come in here and hang out with you in this studio and talk for a little bit, that to me is more important than any promotion I need to do. Come on now. People will find me one way or the other.
That's right.
They'll either find me disgusting or they'll find me.
They'll find me
one way or the other.
Or they'll find me disgusting. I like that. That's great. F. Murray Abraham. Come on, he's a guy that's just
beast. People always look at him and say that the film Amadeus was his. That's not the film. That's not the film. F. Murray Abraham did a film with Eric Roberts.
Don't tell me, By the Sword.
By the Sword.
My favorite.
That movie is so good.
I can't believe you mentioned that.
Oh my God. F. Murray Abraham and By the Sword, there's nothing like that film.
Yeah.
And I'm not being nostalgic. I've seen it 6-8 times.
Movie.
F. Murray Abraham just has such presence and power and ability and strength and fire, man.
Yeah, great film. It was funny because I went... periodically, I'll go through a phase of just watching a particular actor,
right?
And I went through an Eric Roberts phase back in the early '90s, and he was doing tons.
Nothing better than Eric Roberts.
Yeah, he's
Runaway Chain, right? Another Ray Donovan star in there.
Yeah,
and
fantastic. Rebecca Romijn and John Voight. Manny. The way he says Manny, Manny.
Well, his other great opus, of course, is The Pope of Greenwich Village.
Oh, nice.
With Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
Charlie, they took my thumb. I had to introduce young actors to that film and say, if you want to see acting, because I saw a guy review Pope of Greenwich Village, and he said this is a hackneyed piece of mafia wannabe, and I went back. I said, "You're a moron."
Yeah.
Okay. I want to express. See, because he was from England, the guy who said that, and I said, "You don't have any idea what you're talking about." That would be like me criticizing Sidney Poitier in To Serve with Love. I have no understanding of English culture, right? And or Sense and Sensibility. I can't critique it, right? Because it's not my experience. Shut your mouth, young man. You have no idea. You leave that film alone. You scumbag. Right. Tony, was it Monsanto? Is that his name? Yeah. Come on. And of course, Burt Young.
Oh, I love
Bedbug Eddie Grant.
Yeah.
Come on now.
You were talking about Burt Young. I was talking to somebody because I just saw The Gambler.
With Marky Mark.
No.
Or the original.
With James Caan.
Oh,
there's a scene where Burt Young picks him up and he's driving. He goes, "We're going to make a quick stop."
Yeah.
And then he beats up the guy because the guy didn't pay. And James Caan walks over and takes his pulse, and he's just like, didn't break a sweat. He's just looking at him. I go, great.
But the other thing about that is, Burt Young, before the Rocky films, which is where he made his money, of course. Burt Young is an amazing performer.
Oh, yeah.
And he just hasn't gotten those roles that I think really would give him the ability to come out.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of sad that when I see that. There's a great film called The Emperor of the North. And it stars a man's man, James Coburn, and we mentioned him already, Ernest Borgnine. And they're fighting over hobos traveling by train across the country.
He's A number one.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm A number one.
Keith Carradine is in that fantastic actor. Another one. Yeah.
People don't have a chance to see it. I mean, older people who come around in their 40s and 50s and 60s, they go, oh, yeah. But when you get to the kids now, they're like, huh?
Who?
And they're looking at someone on the WB. I'm trying to be like him. Oh, Lord, have mercy.
Wow. No. Lee Marvin. Man, that's a fantastic actor.
James Coburn, Lee Marvin, Ernest Borgnine. You start looking at those guys, Yul Brynner, who was a fantastic racist, by the way. Yul Brynner hated black people, man. There's a story about him in the Frank Langella book, Drop Names, where Yul Brynner used to drive wide in New York in a limo. Yeah. And he was really big in New York in the 70s because he had the biggest play on Broadway, which was the King and I. Yeah. And he would drive into the distressed areas with a giant light. And he would flash the lights in people's faces and they run like roaches. That's why I do it. And I'd never heard that story. And I was like, Yul Brynner, you were in the Magnificent Seven. You helped the Mexicans. How do you hate black people?
Yeah, I know. How can you do that?
And he's Hungarian coming to America. You hate black people. Oh my God! Yeah. And he was great in Westworld too.
Oh yeah.
God, so many great memories in theaters.
Those were fantastic.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, that's a question I always ask everyone else.
I'll tell you right now. I've only got one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Night in the City with Robert De Niro and Jessica Lange.
Wow.
You can anything else? Oh my! It's a remake of an old Richard Widmark film.
Yeah.
But the opening frames and scenes of that film, and then the lovemaking they do on the city street, and then the betrayal. Oh, Alan King. Yeah. Alan King is in that film. Oh my God!
Yeah. He was a great actor when he wasn't doing his comedy and stuff.
Well,
that's a great one. Man, I love the epic movies. I mean, if I had to pick, because I used to say, what's your one favorite movie, and people would hem and hum like I'm doing. So I
don't hem and hum.
I decided
be a man. Be 70s about
it. Be 70s about it. if I had to go, favorite film, I would go Ben-Hur. Charlton Heston and that. But then for a long time, because I vacillated, because there was a long time, one of my favorite movies was From Here to Eternity. It's still on my list of top 10.
Yeah.
Anything with Burt Lancaster. Love Burt Lancaster.
The Birdman of Alcatraz.
Oh, yeah, nice. I love
the Swimmer.
I love the Swimmer. I love, because when you read the story, you have to know the story to understand the film. And, if you don't, you miss.
Burt Lancaster.
He's a fantastic. There was a movie with Montgomery Clift's another favorite of mine.
Yeah.
It was a period piece where he was going to marry this young gal, but he went to college and he started to move up in society.
You know what? I think I know that it's
and he did fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember.
I'm drawing a blank too, but we have the benefit of technology, so we don't have to seem stupid.
But they're because you look at this, I could probably go by decade.
James Mason, that's my guy.
Oh, James Mason.
I'm sorry, but that's the guy from The Verdict. James Mason, who did the lead, and he also did the other one I told you about.
Because if you go through decades, in the 50s, you would do. I guess the Ten Commandments was the 50s.
I was going to say Samson and Delilah.
Oh, nice.
With Victor Mature.
Yeah, Victor Mature. That's a good one.
Come on. And the other, and Hedy Lamarr.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a more...
Remember The Robe?
The Robe, yeah. Have you ever seen a more beautiful woman than Hedy Lamarr?
Yeah, that was a great film. That was a great film.
And she was a rocket scientist. She was a scientist, a poet, and an actress.
Because she invented something.
Yeah, she did. She worked in
broke a code.
Yeah.
I remember that.
She was not fooling around.
Yeah.
She was not fooling around.
I mean, the 70s, wow, one of the things I like, it's when you can see these films, but there are great truths to them, like Jaws. I remember when I first saw Jaws.
Yeah.
I didn't understand everything about it when I saw it older, because there was a scene when they're all sitting around and Robert Shaw, great actor,
Right.
talked about the Indianapolis.
Right.
I didn't know it at the time.
Yeah,
That's when I saw it years later. It's like, it made the whole movie
makes sense.
right, because there you have the adult moment,
Right.
the revelation why he's I'm going to go after this one.
But think also, it wasn't just Jaws. Spielberg has a way of layering films, not just visually, but with regards to the stories and the characters. And I think that's when you find a master. And there's, Akira Kurosawa is a master.
Yeah.
Spielberg is a master. For me, Sidney Lumet was a master. And you start getting these people who actually knew. And it's funny, everyone keeps saying that Rosebud,
Orson Welles
was the greatest director. Hey, I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
I never thought Citizen Kane was the greatest anything. Yeah. I enjoyed the film, but it was too much competition for his. I read a great story about him fighting William Randolph Hearst. That's why he made the film.
Yeah, right.
He hated Hearst.
Yeah.
And I don't think that hatred...
And the truth about Rosebud.
Yeah, I don't think that anyone can hate and develop greatness. I think greatness only comes out of love of something.
Right.
It doesn't come out of hate of something.
Nice.
For me.
Yeah.
I don't know that challenge. So Wells kind of fell to the side for me.
Yeah, because it wasn't out of greatness, or
no.
It was out of spite.
Spite and pettiness and jealousy of a man with great wealth. And I don't have that understanding of my experience on this planet. I mean, jealousy and hatred are such vicious traits in people, but I don't think ultimately they serve you in a creative endeavor.
Yeah. I always tell everyone, when you look at film is like a great book, a great piece of art. It can inspire you, or and you remember it. Like for me, I remember when I saw Rocky.
Of course, everybody responded to Rocky.
It was what a fantastic. Here's the guy that lost but won.
Yeah. And
what a great thing, and I remember the scene right before the fight, and he's telling Adrian, I can't win, I can't beat him. Where have you been? I've been out walking.
Right.
And what a great moment. The realization, the fight scene's great. Come on, stay down.
Yeah.
And he gets
out. Rock.
But the adult moment, I can't beat him. And he's laying there, and he's like, he wants to cry because I can't beat this guy. But he says, if I can just stay up. No one's ever gone the full round with greed.
Yeah.
Boom.
Well, if you think about, you say the adult moment, just think about your own life. When did you ever go the full fight every round?
Yeah.
Think about that when you walked away or you quit.
I
always think of that song, Daddy, Don't You Walk So Fast. Because I hear that song, right?
Yeah.
I see these dads walk away.
Yeah.
It's because they were still boys. They weren't men.
Right.
And so Stallone in Rocky is a man.
Yeah.
See, it's a pretty big difference here.
Yeah.
You can talk about Adam Sandler. That's great.
Yeah.
He's a boy. He's a 50-year-old boy. He's a child.
Right.
Sylvester Stallone, from his first film, was a man.
Yeah.
And he never stopped being a man. And I think that's one reason why he became one of the biggest stars in the history of the industry.
Yeah.
He's a man. And he's a man now in his 70s.
Exactly. And you can still watch him. There was
How could you literally just did Expendables 3? Of course you're watching them.
Isn't that fantastic? Did you see all the Rockies? Rocky Balboa.
I was in Rocky 5, man. Are you kidding me? Yeah. I played one of the fighters in Rocky 5.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. And this is a funny story because you weren't supposed to look Stallone in the eye. You weren't supposed to talk to him.
Yeah.
And I always thought, what a dick.
Yeah.
But what I didn't realize was this guy's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. He just needs not to have everybody say, great job in Rocky.
Yeah.
So when I got to the set, I happened to be standing there at the Olympic Auditorium one day, and he was in the middle of the ring flipping a microphone. And I'm looking up at Stallone, and all I'm doing was trying to figure out what does this guy have that these other people don't have.
Yeah.
And as he's spinning this wireless mic, you hear it in the speaker going, whoop, 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 and coming down. Well, he looks down and he sees me, and he drops the mic. And it rolls over between us, but I'm standing by the apron, he's up in the ring. And he's like, yeah. And I go, I shook my head, no. You get it yourself. And in that moment, I understood Sylvester Stallone. He bent down, picked the mic up, and got it himself. Stallone is a guy who does it himself.
Right.
He doesn't ask for help. He doesn't ask for quarter. He doesn't explain. He just does his thing and takes the suffering when he makes a film like Fist. He suffers with it, okay? Let's be clear. Right, huh?
Great film.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I did. I liked it.
Yeah, you keep
I just
dreaming.
saw it.
You
too.
keep dreaming. But, yeah, how about the one about the arm wrestling?
Oh, come on, Over the Top.
Over the
I saw it in the
Top.
theaters.
Come on,
Love
come
that.
on.
Come on, over.
See,
See,
You're too forgiving.
Yeah.
Oh, that's you or me?
No, I think it's you.
That's not me. That better not be me. That's not me.
One thing about Stallone, it's like you were Fist, Over the Top, Rocky V. And one of the things I love about Rocky V, the ending, obviously.
Yep.
The whole thing about, hey, Tommy, my ring's outside.
Yeah.
And that whole thing, there are always moments, because I always look for the moment in the film. And the film is what? For me, Rocky V. Get up. I didn't hear any bell.
Yeah.
One more round.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
absolutely. Same thing with Fist. Come on, this is the moment.
Now you're going crazy. You not only did
I'm not going to let that one go.
Not only did you jump the shark, you diced it, fried it up, and made some fish and chips.
I went to the refrigerator.
You can't put Fist even in a discussion.
How about this one? Paradise Alley.
Well, now you're getting crazy. You know, I just saw Armand Assante in a new film called The Sicilian Vampire.
Really?
I have loved Armand Assante from the moment I saw him on film. He's like an actor named Season Hubley for me, who did a film with Wings Hauser. Right?
I love Wings Hauser. Vice Squad.
He played Ramrod, which goes back to the violence against women thing, because he takes a hanger and beats his girl with a hanger. And you're going, how in the world did we get from there to here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
how did we get... Because the fiction in those films has become reality now.
Yeah.
That's the very strange... progression.
Great actors.
Man, Wings Hauser, come on.
He was always
and his son is pretty good too.
Yeah.
He played in Paparazzi with Tom Sizemore.
Yeah.
Yeah, great kid.
He was in why do I always forget his name? He was the one with Bruce Willis.
Which one?
When he's the military guy. I forgot which one he's they had to go save an actress.
I don't know that one.
It'll hit me.
I can't watch Bruce anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I have a very difficult time.
You were just talking about Walter Hill. Last Man Standing.
Last Man Standing.
Oh, come on.
With R.D. Call and another actor from Warriors. Yeah.
I love and I would thank you for saying that.
You got it, man. Because that guy
Patrick Kelly.
But remember, he just starred in John Wick with Keanu Reeves. He played the cleaner.
Yeah. And it's funny because you mentioned the Warriors, and one thing I always loved about David Patrick Kelly, because he was in 48 Hours too.
Of course.
Is how intense he gets. He's always just come on. I love that about him. And Warriors, you probably know that. Yeah. That clinking sound.
Warriors come out.
He made that up.
Yeah.
That was spontaneous. He just they left it in the film.
Well, he's an insanely intense character actor.
Yeah.
Never had a huge thing, but was always around.
Yeah.
And he's like the bedrock. And I was talking about Bruce, not because I don't love Bruce Willis. I think the guy's amazing.
Yeah.
But he's not Bruce Willis anymore for me. When he made Die Hard 19 or whatever.
Oh, with the son.
Yeah, I hate to see...
Yeah.
I know it's about the money, I get that. And I understand in his contracts, and I understand that, I get it.
Yeah.
But some of these people are brands.
Yeah.
They're brands. And you've got to leave the brand alone.
He had made the Die Hard prior to that when he was trying to save his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the movie was all right, but Bruce Willis was back in that film.
Bruce Willis was there.
As John McClane. He hit it again. But then he made this this last one.
Yeah.
I know, and I understand they're trying to pass the buck. They were hoping that, what's his name? Was it Hardy? Who played the son? I forgot who. I know they were trying to pass the buck. Yeah. It's like watching last Indiana Jones with Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah,
we're not
Shia LaBeouf is
him.
not. Yeah, I love. Do it. I love Shia LaBeouf, and he was great in Lawless, another film that I don't understand.
Yeah, right.
Because it was co-opted fiction, but when Willis did it, there's a film called Tears of the Sun.
Yes.
Monica Bellucci.
Yeah.
Man,
That's the film. That's when he tries to save her.
Yeah,
that's Hauser.
Yeah.
That's Hauser.
There you go.
Wings Hauser's
Wings
son.
out, yeah.
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 Yeah, it's funny. That was it. I couldn't remember.
Well, I gave it to listen. I'm here to help. I'm here to get you out alive, man.
You got it. Bruce Willis was there. Another fave of mine. Kurt Russell. I don't think there's anything that he's done that's bad.
I just wish he'd be quiet. No, seriously.
Oh, you mean personally, or?
Yeah, because you think of Kurt Russell, and there's a couple of films, and I don't want to go back to the Disney era when he was doing Flubber.
Oh, come on!
Right?
I love those movies.
I'm not gonna. I'm just saying.
The Barefoot Executive. I have them all.
I just want to,
Snake
what's the
Plissken
best?
Forward.
People want to say that Escape from L.A. was his best work. I don't think that was a Big Trouble in Little China. I don't think that was it.
Yeah.
He did a film with Jason Lee, where he played a soldier.
Yeah.
A machine
that was being
soldier. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had some dignity in that film. And
he didn't say much.
He didn't say, hey,
that's what you mean.
That's where the acting. Yeah, that's where the acting comes through, man.
You're right. Yeah.
That's where the acting is. It's in the pauses between the words.
So he just points at the end.
He just points. Yeah, man. He also did a new film, which is a comedy, which he's great in.
Yeah.
He plays a aging daredevil.
Yeah.
Who gets screwed by his brother, played by Matt Dillon. It's a pretty good film.
And it's new?
It's about a year old. It's on Netflix.
Oh,
I'll get the title for you. It's actually pretty funny. Kurt Russell was amazing.
It's like one of my favorites is 3,000 Miles from Graceland.
Yeah. With Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
And the Elvis movie.
Yeah, I thought that was great. What's funny is that I heard Kurt Russell talk about that movie. He said him and Kevin Costner didn't have a lot of scenes together, so they had two different productions. And he said, my movie was a comedy movie. That's why when you see my parts, they seem more light and friendly. When you see Costner's part, his is dark. Because literally, we were making two different movies.
So that I don't understand. That kind of feel and vibe, that tells me there's a disconnect in what people are expecting. And Gene Simmons made a film called Never Too Young to Die with John Stamos and Vanity. Yeah. And I was doing security on that film when I was a kid. And I did the weekend, so I stayed 48 to 72 hours straight guarding the trucks down on 2nd and Alameda. Yeah. I had never seen a director before, and the director of that film was actually replaced. But I would watch this guy for days on end. Yeah. It was sad because he lost the production, but also because the stars ran over him. Yeah. And when a director loses control, that's why I've never lost control on a set.
Right.
I had a film in production a couple of years ago, and an actor said something. We've been shooting for 8 or 9 days. We had a 15-day shoot, and when the actor came up, they had a little mutiny going on. I couldn't understand what had happened. I said, "Is there a problem here?" And the guy was, "Yeah, you got." I said, "Let's shut this down." And the actor said, "What are you going to do? Lose all that money?" I said, "Yeah, I think I'm going to." And I shut the whole production down. I remade the film 2 years later with Harry Lennox, one of your favorite actors, Nick Mancuso, and a really great character named Carmen Argenziano. It's called Sonny and Ray Ray.
I heard of Sonny and Ray Ray.
But that film had been shut down.
Wow.
After 8 days of shooting 2 years prior, because I couldn't see the film not coming out the way that I had loved the film and the story and the characters. And it was much better the second time around. But when I hear stories about film productions going out of control, I understand what's going on. It's a weak director.
Yeah.
You got to be a strong director.
Yeah. We got like, wow, we're almost at the end.
We have 2 seconds. I got to come back.
You got to come back. That's right.
To promote the festival in my book.
That's right. But matter of fact, I was going to make a quick jump to that. Talking about the festival, something from advice from you that you would tell people who are wanting to come into your festival. Because your festival is Action on Film.
Yeah, Action on Film is our 11th year. Nice. The AOF festival, AOFfest.com. And, people think it's action because Jet Li's film Fearless was around when we first started up, and they thought we were an action film. Action on Film never meant action movies. Action on Film meant the action a director takes to make his or her film, and then the reaction to that effort by the audience. That's all it ever meant. Yeah. We show comedy, drama, documentaries, sports, experimental videos. We show everything in every genre, but we got the moniker for action. And the point is, we are probably one of the only inclusive festivals. When we get submissions, we look for reasons to accept them. We're not like most festivals. We got to, we don't show that. And I had a guy criticize me about a week ago, and he said something about my festival. And I said, well, if you meant I'm not a major because I only show 100 films a year and I get 5,000 to 12,000 submissions, you're right, I'm not a major. I try and show 500 to 600 films a year. to give everyone I can exposure.
Right.
And I don't want to be the other guys. I don't want to be Sundance where you get 15,000 submissions and you show 100 films, but what people don't know is 85 of those were invited. So you're only really showing 20 native films.
Right.
So you get a chance for 20 slots is zero. Not to say anything about Sundance, but Robert Redford had to come out a few years back and say they were racist himself, which resulted in the leaving of Jeff Gilmore, the director of the festival, who went to Tribeca. But, you know, you have to pay attention as a filmmaker to every opportunity out there. And I think action on film is an opportunity.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And just real quick, I want to mention about your book as well.
We have a series of books. They're called the Top 100 Indie Filmmakers in the World. We came out with part 1 about 8 months ago. Part 2 comes out in about 2 weeks. We also have the Top 50 Indie Writers in the World. In the works is the Top 100 Indie Film Performances in the world, where we pull out all these actors and actresses who've been in these phenomenal films you're never going to see.
Right.
And we show you their performances and why they're so important.
Fantastic.
But they're not just books, they're Apple iBooks. They're interactive. You can see the trailers, you can watch scenes, you can hear commentary, interviews, all just by pressing buttons. And they're brilliant books. The Top 100 Indie Filmmakers in the World, available on iTunes.
Beautiful. And just a little more on the festival. What do you look for in regards to submissions?
I look for quality and someone's desire. Because, you know, I have filmmakers who are improved year to year to year. And I've had a very good eye. I've launched a couple of careers. We've sold a bunch of movies for people. We've raised money for people.
Wow.
But you can't do that unless you believe in the people. So I look for people that are hungry, who desire to do something good, who are trying their best. And that's all that matters to me. You know, because there's other people involved in the mix, your vision can be easily co-opted and ruined. But your heart and your desire cannot.
Yeah.
I look for the heart and the desire on the part of the filmmaker.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And how about where they can get more information?
AOFFest.com, baby.
Yeah, boom.
AOFFEST.com. Check it out. You can find out about the books on iTunes, and you can find out more about me at DelWestonOnFilm.com. DelWestonOnFilm.com.
Beautiful. And it runs, when's the festival?
The festival runs this year from September 16th to the 27th in Monrovia at the beautiful Krikorian Theaters for our 4th year. It's our 11th year of the festival. And it's going to be a big year. We're featuring Maria Conchita Alonso, another one of my favorite actresses, and her roles in Moscow on the Hudson.
Nice.
Oh, man. Extreme Prejudice.
Oh,
Come on, with Powers Booth. One of the greatest actors in the history of film. Oh my God.
My go-to movie, because I tell you what, who's in that movie? You have Powers Booth,
Nick Nolte,
William Forsythe. I mean, you have
come on.
Fantastic. I love there's a scene with Clancy Brown's in it.
Yeah.
And they see
another great actor.
Yeah, he sees Nick Nolte walking across the street because he wants to fight. He likes to fight. He goes, "Oh, the sheriff's big. Oh, I like him big." You remember that? He's in there.
Clancy Brown, you always remember him from Highlander. He played the immortal.
Kurgan.
He played it.
I love Clancy Brown.
He also was great in that short-lived HBO series, Carnival.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant in that. Brilliant.
He's one of those actors that didn't get his due, but fantastic.
No, he didn't. He never did.
Yeah, fantastic.
As far as I'm concerned, he never did.
Powers Booth, I had a chance to meet him. I was at another festival. I had a chance to interview him. And tall guy. He's about 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah.
And I told him, my first Powers Booth movie, was Southern Comfort.
Oh, Mama! Mama! See, that film.
And Keith Carradine. Yeah.
Oh, my. The story of National Guard.
James in that. Another great actor.
You can't discount him.
Yeah.
Film's the only medium where one artist can start, but 1,000 artists can finish.
Yeah.
You got a lot of people in the row. I mean, I can say, I love it. It can go one or the other way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, isn't that a fantastic movie?
Yeah, Southern Comfort.
And Fred Ward is in there. There's another guy.
Another great actor, Remo Williams.
Oh, man.
Come on. Joel Grey. Fred Ward.
That's
my
pretty
God.
Good. Let me turn off the lights. Oh, Wilford Brimley. Wilford Brimley, he's like, there are certain actors that can just sit there and you become scared. Wilford Brimley.
One of those guys.
There is a scene I always tell everyone. Donald Sutherland is another actor like that.
He's great.
He did a movie, not Prefontaine. It was the same guy, but the guy Prefontaine.
Yeah.
What was the other one? It's the other film, Without Limits.
Okay.
Without Limits, and he's measuring because he developed Nike. He's measuring Prefontaine's foot, and all you hear is he's talking very low,
Right.
and you just see the top of his head as he's measuring. And for me, the scene was like, what are you going to do?
What are you gonna do?
And he wasn't even doing anything. He was just talking. It was just the top of his head. And I'm like, okay, I'm scared.
I love his work. I love his work.
All right. So, now we're at the end. All right, here we go. I'll make it easy. Top 3 favorite films of all time.
Well, I mentioned before, Night in the City. You can't go without that. Night in the City is actually a brilliant film.
Yeah.
Number 2, it would have to be The Godfather.
Nice.
And then number 3 is a small indie film that brought me to so many tears, I could not leave the theater for about 15 minutes. It's a film called Fresh. And it stars Giancarlo Esposito, Samuel Jackson, and it is one of the most remarkable chess games in film.
Yeah.
And up to the last frame, I was fine.
Yeah.
And then the last frame occurs with this child looking at Samuel Jackson, and something happens. I won't say what it was.
Yeah.
But I began crying in that theater, and I felt the weight of humanity on my shoulders after watching, because I understood that film heralded the loss of all innocent youth. That film brought that in, and I don't think that we're ever going to see youth again the way we had before in this country. That film told me it's over. The kids are no longer going to be able to be kids. That was a big moment for me.
Wow, and I gotta check it out. I've never heard of it, but I've never seen it. Now with such a great recommendation and such an impact on culturally,
it's almost as good as Deep Cover. With Jeff Goldblum and Lawrence Fishburne.
Come on, that's a great
Or The
movie.
King of New York with Christopher Walken. I mean, I can go on forever, man.
Deep Cover.
Deep Cover.
It's one of my. I think that's one of that one and The Fly. I think Jeff Goldblum
and Gina Davis.
Yeah, isn't that a great film?
I'm sorry.
Talk about one more. Gina Davis. She did a movie. I can't believe I forgot it.
As long as you don't say the pirate movie.
Yeah, the pirate movie, but I'm talking about Frank Langella. I think he was fantastic in that.
Frank Langella is a monster, but his new book or his old book, Drop Names, I was ashamed for him. He shouldn't have come out with that. Yeah, well, I hate when people tell everything. You can't tell everything.
Yeah. Some secrets are best kept.
Most secrets are best kept secret.
That's right. Dal, fantastic. So
Gus,
glad
thank you
for
having me. Thank you.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Hey, well, this is Gus Summers, and you've been listening to The In Show. We had in-studio guest, Mr. Dal Weston of Action on Film. Of course, you can just type in his name, Dal Weston, or look for Action on Film, and you get more information about his film festival that's coming up. You have to attend, and of course, look for his books on Apple and such, and just reach out and contact him about movies. He'll love just to talk to you about movies. And of course, be sure to check out every Monday at theinshow.com, where I host actually, In-Show Celebrities, where I just talk about some of my favorite films and actors. And of course, be sure to visit us every Thursday here, where I host the In-Show, where I just have all sorts of great celebrities and guests to talk about their projects. Of course, look for us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Flickr, Instagram, all those great social media sites. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, Gus has left the building.